It was a balmy summer evening when my wife and I hired a babysitter for our 3-year-old daughter, Emily. We had plans to attend a long overdue dinner party with friends. The babysitter, a young woman named Lila, came highly recommended by our neighbors. They spoke of her reliability and how their children adored her. She seemed like the perfect choice. Lila arrived promptly at 7 p.m., her presence calm and reassuring. She had long, raven-black hair cascading over her shoulders and wore a simple dress that seemed almost vintage. Her skin was pale, nearly translucent, but I attributed it to the lack of sunlight typical of teenagers these days. Emily took to her immediately, and after a brief introduction, my wife and I felt comfortable leaving for the evening. The first hint of unease came as we drove away. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Lila's eyes seemed to follow us as we left, unblinking and intense, leaving a gnawing sensation in the pit of my stomach. But I brushed it off, attributing it to first-time parent jitters. I couldn't help but feel a pang of guilt for leaving our precious daughter in the care of someone we had only just met. But the positive reviews from our neighbors reassured me, and I trusted their judgment. The dinner party was lively, filled with laughter and good food. Yet, my mind kept wandering back to Emily and Lila. My wife noticed my distraction and reassured me. "She's in excellent hands," she said with a smile, and I nodded, trying to push the unease aside. During the dinner party, my wife and I couldn't help but mention how lucky we felt to have found such a reliable and trustworthy babysitter. We reminisced about the days when finding a good babysitter was daunting and filled with uncertainty and anxiety. But with Lila, it seemed like we had hit the jackpot. As the night wore on, I occasionally checked my phone for any updates from Lila. We returned home around midnight, the house eerily quiet. Lila was sitting in the living room reading a book by the dim light of a single lamp. She looked up as we entered, her eyes reflecting the light in a way that made them seem almost predatory. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Emily's asleep," she said softly. "She was an angel." We paid her, thanked her, and she left, her figure disappearing into the night. I checked on Emily, finding her sleeping soundly in her bed, her little chest rising and falling in a peaceful rhythm. Relieved, I kissed her forehead and went to bed. The following day, Emily seemed different. She was reticent, her usual bubbly self muted. When I asked her if everything was okay, she nodded with a far-off look. My wife noticed it too, but we assumed she was tired from the excitement of having a new babysitter. As days passed, Emily's behavior grew more peculiar. She became increasingly withdrawn, often staring into space or at corners of the room as if she saw something we couldn't. She developed a sudden aversion to sunlight, insisting on always keeping the curtains drawn. And then there were the nights. She began waking up screaming, her cries piercing the silence of the house. When we rushed to her room, she would sit in bed, eyes wide with fear, mumbling about the lady with the red eyes. We tried to rationalize it. Children have vivid imaginations, we told ourselves. But the fear in Emily's eyes was real, palpable, and chilled us to the bone. As I was tucking her in one evening, she whispered, "Daddy, the lady visits me at night. She says she wants to be my friend." A shiver ran down my spine. I tried to reassure her, but my fear was growing. Determined to get to the bottom of it, I decided to install a camera in Emily's room. I needed to see for myself what was happening during those terrifying nights. The footage showed nothing unusual during the first few nights. Emily slept soundly, the room undisturbed. Then one night I saw it. Around 3 a.m., the camera captured a shadow moving across the room. It was faint, almost invisible, but it was there. The shadow stopped at Emily's bedside, and it seemed to take shape for a moment, a tall, slender figure with glowing red eyes. My heart pounded as I watched, frozen in horror. The figure leaned over Emily, and then, just as quickly as it had appeared, it vanished. I couldn't believe what I had seen. It defied all logic, but the evidence was right there. I showed the footage to my wife, who turned pale, her hand trembling as she covered her mouth in disbelief. We decided to confront Lila. There had to be an explanation that could make sense of the madness. We went to our neighbors, hoping to find her there, but they seemed puzzled. "Lila, we haven't seen her in weeks," they said. "She left town suddenly. Didn't she tell you?" Panic set in. We had to protect our daughter. We reached out to a local paranormal expert, a man named Marcus, who had a reputation for dealing with such occurrences. He came to our home, his presence both comforting and unsettling. Marcus conducted a thorough investigation, and his findings were chilling. He confirmed what we had feared. Lila was not human. She was a vampire, an ancient being who preyed on the innocent. Her presence had left a dark energy in our home, and Emily was her target. The realization was horrifying. We had invited a monster into our home, and she had marked our daughter. Marcus performed a cleansing ritual, and we took extra precautions to protect Emily. Garlic, holy water, and crosses became a regular part of our household. Emily began to recover slowly. The night terrors became less frequent, and her cheerful demeanor started to return. But the fear lingered. Even now, years later, I can't shake the memory of those red eyes and the shadow that haunted my daughter's room. Our experience left us scarred, a reminder of the darkness lurking behind the most innocent facades. We learned to be cautious, to trust our instincts, and to protect our loved ones fiercely. And though Emily has grown and the memories have faded, I still look over my shoulder, wary of the shadows that linger in the night. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more spine-chilling tales. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest videos. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below and share your scary encounters. Also, consider joining the Fear Frequencies community for exclusive perks and early access to new content. Your support helps us create even more thrilling stories. And if you really enjoyed it, please consider leaving a super thanks.